Okay, I just got confirmation from A. Actually, we all got confirmation from A. I'm gonna rename us really quickly, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, T.K. Williams is a poet living in Bloomington, Indiana, and a constant state of wonder. She spends most of her time trying to spot deer in the forest behind her house. Her previous poems have appeared in Mania Magazine and Bad Pony Journal. Now presenting T.K. Williams.
Good evening. There is one quick update I have to that bio era. We are co-publicants in Dogteeth, I believe.
This is true, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really neat to see you in there. I'm going to start with my poem from Ink and Ivy and then read a few others. Uh, Fun fact about this one is that it is 12 years old, so it was really interesting for me to come back and rework it a little bit. This is Dysphoria in Stages. Say, this doesn't hurt. This will surely make me better. Say whatever you want to avoid words with meaning. Placate yourself like sandbags piled against your own advancing tide. Don't set fire to the dry land. Watch, with a grin hell wide, as the ones you love are swept up, efforts and screams for now equally futile. Their voices still louder than every crashing wave. If this could stop now, if this could happen any less than constantly, if you had anything worth offering, you would be crying at the feet of gods, but if the gods listened, if you yourself could parse your own frantic words, would you, when everything is supposed to have passed, be left smiling with anything other than nothing? This next one is a sestina I wrote a while ago. It's my favorite form, so I always try and get one of these in here. It's called Anathematician. I've had a hard time holding out my hands. Letting my fingers curl around a form that always pushes back is something new, something that pushes back all on its own. My muscles spasm any way they please and often crush it flat or let it drop. Composite parts will fit with just a drop of elbow grease, of oil from the hands, and settle in their places how they please. I don't quite think it matters if they form a shape I couldn't think of on my own. It's scary, but it's fun. This isn't new. This weight's a force that I already knew. I scattered craters every time I dropped a world that I could almost call my own. I used to think I had these big, strong hands, but since then they have taken other forms. I finally think they're folding to ask, please, let us array you finer panoplies. Let us be shadowed authors penning new ideas of good to which you could conform. Let us work stronger so we catch what drops from out of you. I've puppet strung my hands. The lines snap as they unfold on their own. I change names once or twice until I own enough of history to hear these pleas. I get a little better with my hands, and better still at holding on to new, still beating things. There's been a noted drop in hecklers shouting out while I perform. The lattices and grooves in these new forms might never find their partners on their own. We work together so that we don't drop each other, and we know when we say please, it means that we're sustaining something new and finding ways to join it in my hands. It's simple for a single pair of hands, combining and creating thoughts anew. It's scary, but it's fun. Come with me, please. Um, this one is about, to my best calculations, the exact moment I realized I was queer. It's called September 30th, 1999, Thursday, September 30th, 1999, 5:22 p.m. Dragon Ball Z, episode 83, 22 minutes 15 seconds. The television sounds didn't come through for a second. The volume, of course, but even the secret hissing under it that no one else seemed able to receive. I dug my hands into the roots of the carpet, or stood up and shouted, or sat gape-mouthed, or ran to my Bible, or to the internet. Regardless of what other paths I took, I stayed there, moving 9 years a second, back and forth in every errant trajectory I'd passed by so far, whether or not I had seen them at the time, while they were speaking words I couldn't taste, or being held face down in their bathtubs, or thinking they didn't exist, or not existing, or being born. An alien invading an alien planet, a physical form like I had never seen before, spoken of in a desperate, schismatic voice, invoked as a last resort, always whispered, completely separate from the breath. That night, I walked to the playground and laid upside down on the slide, as if sending the blood to my eyes would make them stronger, and I looked into space, at every heavenly body and the bodies on them, at the halos and the planetary rings, at the eyes that I could now start to see, looking back from above cheeks, blushing just as much as mine. And if I have time for one more, I've got one more. Take that as a yes. This one's called Decayed Hands Sprouting Up Like Grass. I'm a horror movie monster from a monster movie poster. I've got hands and feet and teeth and eyes the color of your blood. And through all my hunts and all my kills, I've never met a boaster who could follow through their threats to hold me face down in the mud. I'm your new God-damned creation. You're your own malignant god. I'm still waiting on the love you give the sycophants you've awed. I'm still waiting on the night my claws find where you keep your breath. The night I finally try to learn your body's shibboleth. I will wait in every shadow of your sheltering terrain. I will catch you. I will rot out all the ego from your brain. I will hollow out your heart and hands and fill them up with sin. When not caring gets convenient, then you let the devil in. If you think that you're still human, if you think you've dodged the curse, if you think you'll end up any other way than in a hearse, then I hope you've cleaned your instruments and sanitized your hands. I hope you're ready when you cannot meet your life's demands. When not caring gets convenient and you let the devil in, and when everyone you know keeps taking death out for a spin, and when all your test results come back a little bit askew, when you've only got your body, then your body's got you too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, TK. That was a super beautiful performance. Era's not feeling well, so I guess I'll just end here. But I think the last poem was my personal favorite. It was really like raw and visceral in a way, and I love the like progression of it until it got to the end. Like I was genuinely like I was waiting for that peak, and you definitely hit it at the end. That was really impressive. And of course, we love the piece that we were able to see earlier. Yeah, super beautiful performance. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, I think next up on the list, uh, sorry, I'm just gonna check with Era real quick. Okay, so next up, we actually did get a submission from MK Zerial. They weren't able to attend, but they did send in a recording. So I'm just gonna try to play that, and if you guys could like let me know in the chat or anything if you guys can actually hear this. Oh, I'm sorry, and I'll read their artist bio first. M.K. Zerial, is a transmasculine poet, theater artist, movement journalist, and insurrectionary anarchist. It is fueled by folk punk, Emma Goldman, and existential dread. It can be found online at https //linktree /mkzerial, creating conflictually queer anarchist spaces and being mildly feral in the Great Lakes region. It is kind of gay, not gonna lie. And I'll start with playing their recording.
Hello, this is MK Zariel, a shortlisted chapbook author at Ink and Ivy. Thank you so much for your inclusion at this reading. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it in real time, but I hope to make up for that with these poems from my chapbook Boy Apparition. This first one is called Pride Was a Riot and We Are Not. There is a fight in every encrypted chat. Glitter in all of our hair, and I've lost 5 friends and counting to some grand discourse of zines we haven't read. Problematic idols we've forsaken, dialectics of oh no you didn't, dude that's a slur. That's what we call pride, isn't it? There is a folding table at an event full of tired devotees to trademarked resistance, half of whom are nonprofit adherents. Commiserating about their children, defying families, sinking into broken tapestries, woven contradictions, their matching sweaters and suspiciously lesbian haircuts gleaming under the scrutiny of infighting. Like the drag artists who populate every other folding table, makeup smudging in the unrelenting sun, blasting the pop anthems of Top 50 assimilated through the grimacing sky. All of us crave to flip the table at this point, throwing all our vaguely arcane literature, our refreshments smell of panic attacks to the ground. Because you're a Marxist-Leninist, your so-called comrade is the other kind of ML, and nobody knows the difference or wants to. And I am an insurrectional post-leftist and newly anarcho-nihilist with intersectional post-civ tendencies. I'm just trans, okay? And I have a problem with you both. Your red fascism, or maybe just how every theory bro seems convinced the thoughts in his head remain in his head until they leave his mouth. We the depressed are still handing out screen-printed, heavily edited words of Emma Goldman and her distant femme paramours to mildly confused straight allies. Despite our different politics, our wildly varied emoji choices, we all wish the straightest of our allies would just love who they love. Find passion on opposing sides of a chasm called boyhood, remain soft, feral accomplices ungoverned in their becoming whatever, becoming decent, any becoming at all, because isn't straightness so static? So time-bound as to negate itself, but maybe they just draw existential fulfillment, bolstering their cold foundations from striding through pride events. Dancing terribly to trashy pop, clipping way too many ally pins to their ghost white tote bags, never noticing their ghostly white privilege. Because in their glazed over eyes, this manicured storm is all pride was a riot first bluster. Excusing their smug resume padding, they shout protect trans kids to pink white skies, forgetting children of amorphous decaying body minds, repressed softening and becoming are forever protecting them. We aren't much better, are we? Sure, we're explaining anarchy at strangers, under blistering Midwest sun, forgetting to eat, also forgetting social skills. For the other 11 months, we are strangers to each other. This next one is called Save Our Stages, and it's a love letter to independent venues and Big Gay Felix. Tonight I have cried to experimental music and now feel as defiantly alive as your friends, the overly confident guys who just embarked on an emo phase. And so I am spinning out at an independent venue, clawing chasms in local art, setting fire to the mutual aid shelf and her mass-produced zines, hoping to see your face in the Rebel. I love two things in this irritating city, queercore and anything that reminds me of you. So tonight I am bored at a punk show, trying to picture your gender in song, witty pulse like drone and ambiance. I continue staring down the band's elderly relatives, imploring them to at least wear masks if they plan to cough for the next hour, a fleeting eternity. Wishing my love for you was as contagious as the flu in piercing Midwestern heat, to spread through a haphazardly lit stage, a liminality for two, possibly the world. And tonight I am technically feral at a punk show by my own meager standards, resisting the urge to hide and read the theory you sent me at 1 a.m. while wondering if I love you like your weird friend loves Against Me's later days. Hoping that bigot I'm avoiding never meets my eyes. I am furtively answering messages. I am falling apart. I am talking to straight girls in culturally appropriated clothing. I am taping the world back together. I am wondering why there are used surgical masks on the floor. I am researching terrible bands. I am aglow and panicking, yet still forever wishing she were here. Okay, and this last one is called Transphibian, and it's a work of eco poetry about being trans and how that can feel like not really belonging in the ecosystem you live in. I walk through the pinks and grays of desire, never fully belonging to either. I could have been your sister in arms or one of the only men you trust, yet instead I am thin air and soft night skies and forgetting. Refer to me as your apparition, your rolling thunder that vanishes in a second. 1 foot in the cleansing ocean and 1 on amorphous verdant land, and yet I will always set fire to your prairie grasses. Will always be extinguished or else negate. I swim through acidified seas called womanhood and wonder why I'm the only one whose skin burns and cannot survive. Call me your transphibian. Watch me destroy every shred of patriarchy I touch only to crawl back. Am I normal enough to breathe underwater? I don't want to know what you assume when you look upon my body. Don't want to know what a gender is. I will never be anything more than the parasitic plants that linger between sea and sky. Algae that is unnoticed yet ignored. I don't want to know what being gay is, because if I did, you would have gendered me in the first place. Am I normal enough to drown? Thank you all so much for the invitation to this reading and for your consideration on Ink and Ivy's chapbook shortlist. Wishing you all so much pure joy.
Okay, so MK couldn't make it to the meeting, obviously, but I think I speak for all of us when I say that was a super amazing performance. It felt very relevant, of course, and it was just a really refreshing, I guess, performance of these poems as well. I, for one, really enjoyed that.
Okay, I'm back from feeling unwell. Essentially, I was just coughing a lot, and I didn't want to cough in between anyone's reading or anyone's bio because that would feel like not great for me and also probably not great for you also. So all right, I guess honestly it's been an hour since we've started. People who said that they were going to show up did not show up. Not in a mean way. I was just saying like, oh, that didn't happen the way that we expected it to based on what our inbox looks like. But thank you guys so much for showing up, for coming out, and supporting us. I know that I did a really sappy speech at the beginning about like y'all really keeping us motivated and like actually wanting to do this a lot more. But like it's really true, because this does kind of, honestly, this community is the reason why we keep doing what we do. And one second, I'm gonna go cough again. Okay. I mean, y'all are the reason why we do what we do, and why we think it's, ever more, I guess, important to have different creators' pieces out there. And I guess I can just go down, like, from Aldrin's really lovely pieces on father-son relationships and queerness to then to Grayson's piece on, finding salvation, but also finding home and family. And then to Isabella's pieces on like sensuality and like joy, as well as just intimate experiences with other people, whether that be sexual in nature or not. And then finally to TK's pieces and MK's pieces about queerness, about dysphoria, about, finding comfort in who you are and in your body as well. But overall, I think, and okay, I'm going to get a little political for a half second, especially in Arizona, because that's where we're from, and in, the current United States as well, it's extremely important that people, regardless of whatever minority groups they are part of, come out and they share their experiences, and, they foster that kind of communication. And I'm also going to be a little bit biased when I say this, but I do think that one of the best ways to do that is through readings, is through poetry, is through the community that we've all individually found on in indie literature. And honestly, like, I'm just very honored to be. I'm actually both very honored and very proud of being able to host a space that, is safe for so many people, and that people, especially, like you, also can come and read and just talk about your experiences in issue, whether you've published these pieces that you use with us, or that you're reading with us, or you haven't published them with us, you've published them elsewhere, maybe you haven't published them at all, but we still think it's extremely important to have that discussion and to have that communication and to, read those pieces anyways, because obviously my experiences are going to be very different from your experiences. And even then, like, my experiences with, okay, this is also going to be like, to be quite frank, me and A have known each other for a very long time. The first time I saw A was like 2 months after after they were born. Like, this is how close we are, in terms of, like, we're family friends, essentially. But even then, like, my living experiences are very different from their lived experiences. And for us to come together and, host a reading that all of you felt comfortable enough to come out and to talk about that experience, we're both very happy, and we're also very proud, and we're also, a little bit emotional about it, because this is also, our technical first full year of Ink and Ivy being a press. And, we've already come a really long way, and we've already have such like a very lovely group of people who are here and who are supporting us. And then my final thank you, of course, is to A. I started this magazine in December of 2023, literally in a haze in my second hour AP research class, and I was like, you know what, I really want to start a literary magazine. And so I did. And I'm really thankful to A for when I opened the idea to them, and I was like, hey, do you want to do this with me? It would be kind of cool and fun. And they were like, yes, I'd love to. And they have been very dutifully doing a lot of the work that either I haven't wanted to do or that I was just not good at. If you have ever scrolled through our Instagram, that's all A. I tried to do graphic design once. You can probably find it at the very beginning of our page. And A took one look at it and was like, never touch Canva again or I will find you. And that's a threat coming from them because they do know where I live. So, just like, it's been really lovely to host this with you specifically, A. Also, thank you for everything. And I guess that concludes our first contributor reading. I would love to see you guys soon in our or actually I would love to see you guys soon in both, our inbox, and whenever I say that I do really mean it. And also in future contributor readings, if we do them again. But I'm so grateful for all of you for coming out and reading at this event. Thank you so much. And with that, our first contributor reading is officially over. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was lovely. All right.